Hi. So we are literally inviting you into our living room right now because we want to let you know about a project we have that's coming up. We are really excited to launch the new music video for our song Scars on Friday, August 24th, 2018. And we just want to talk a little bit about that song and what we've noticed it means to people. So we really want to just take a couple minutes to talk about a very timely but also kind of a heavy topic, and that would be depression, which can lead to a lot of other things, including suicide. Like, we've seen suicide rates really dramatically go up, especially in young people, and so that's what we want to talk about. So I actually, it's something that
Penny wants to talk about too.
Yeah, Penny. This is our cat, Penny. So depression is actually something that James and I both have experienced, and so I want us to just kind of share a little bit about what our experience has been. So why don't you talk a little bit about your experience with depression?
Well, I think both of us can say we haven't really experienced depression as seriously as so many people have.
That's true.
But it's touched in our lives in ways that's just, we thought it would be healthy to have the conversation and be part of that as far as making positive change in people's lives, talking about our own experiences. Really, to keep it kind of short, my experience kind of goes back right before Katie and I got married. We've been married since 2002. I went through a loss of a relationship, and that triggered other kind of things. There was a divorce happening in my family at the time, and I was just going into college. A lot of changes caused me to have probably the worst summer of my life, where a doctor put me on some Zoloft, and so this was meant to help me with my depression, but being on the pills really made it kind of worse for me. My appetite went down, all the negative side effects came with it. So I really, ever since then, decided for my depression, I didn't really want to do any kind of pills or anything for that. I wanted to do it natural and face it head on. And really, for me personally, it was a realization at some point or another that it wasn't just emotional well-being that was a part of it, but there was an actual chemical, physical thing that was happening. So without getting into the other emotional things, which actually spirituality and my relationship with God really played a part in that, the other side of it that was still affecting me, even though I had everything else I thought in order, is this chemical thing. And I had, the first part of that was just me recognizing that, hey, and I had to tell Katie this, that look, this, everything I'm saying right now sounds like gloom and doom, and I feel like this, but I know it's temporary, because I know this is chemical, and I just have to get through this day. Sometimes it was a week or multiple days, and I'll be fine. So recognizing that was the first. The second one was keeping track of how many times it happened to me. And over time, I saw it dissipate. So it started with a few days.
Well, it was also,
monthly.
like a pattern. Like, especially the beginning of our marriage, I felt like it was every month. There were anywhere from 1 to 5 days that you were that way. And then it started to decrease over time.
Yeah. So exactly. So it started decreasing over time, and I could only see that by intentionally putting on the calendar and seeing, and so we would have these conversations that, okay, this is just a low day for me, and it would be, look, it's only happening once a month now, and then there would be months go by without it happening again. It was over time. So there's many factors that contributed to me being healthier and coming out of the depression. I don't recommend for everyone not to go on medication. That was just my story. But without getting into all those things, I think the biggest thing I could share at this moment was recognizing what it is and doing something positive, knowing yourself enough to know, and just having conversations with people, about it.
Yeah, for sure. Because as a wife watching her husband go through that, those days I didn't know how to navigate that, because he was like this big dark cloud on our life, and I wasn't exactly sure how to support you during those times, but like I just wanted to shake you out of it, and if I could just shake you hard enough, then it would shake it up, but that's not always the best way to do it. And so as a loved one who is watching someone that they care about go through that, it can be really hard to navigate, and it can be really hard, and it can be really frustrating and discouraging, and especially when you don't know how to support them, when you don't know how to make it go away. It can get exasperating where you just want to give up, and it would just be so much easier if I could just distance myself. But that's not always the right course of action as someone who is trying to support, their loved one who's going through that.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else?
Well, I was just going to toss it back to you because the song Scars is about a personal experience. You have a lot of our songs are about Katie's experiences. Some of them are mine and some of them are a combination. But a lot of times when we write it, we keep the lyrics sort of open-ended so that people can relate to it with their own unique experiences. So sometimes we find out more about a song after it's written than we know before it was written.
That's true.
So kind of share, I don't want to make this video too long, so maybe just share just a tiny bit about Scars, what it means to you, and or maybe what more recently what it's meant to us by performing it.
Well, I think for me it's all in the same, and that's when I wrote it and when I struggle with my own times of depression, which again is not anywhere near what other people go through. One of the first things that I do is I isolate. And I have actually told friends before, if you don't hear from me, I'm isolating, and just check on me and make sure I'm okay. And I think that speaks to you talking about how just knowing yourself. And I think that that's what a lot of people who are going through depression, what they do is that they isolate, they withdraw from life, they withdraw from relationships. And that could be for a multitude of reasons, whatever their reasons are at the time. But I know that one of the huge themes that we see whenever someone famous decides to take their life, or whenever that becomes something publicly, what you see just a huge, you see all these social media posts that people are saying, like, if you're struggling, I'm here. And if you need someone to talk to, reach out. Like, I'm here for you. I'm always listening. And that's really important. It's really important for people who are struggling to know that someone's listening, to know that they can reach out. But what I think would be really good is for you to pay attention. If depression isn't something that you struggle with, then pay attention to the people in your life that you care about. Because when you notice the void that they have left behind, there's a reason that they've left that behind, and just reach out to them. If you haven't heard from someone for a while, just check on them, because
they're not always gonna reach out on their own.
They're not. I don't. When I'm really struggling emotionally, I completely withdraw from life, and I don't reach out. And I'm really grateful for the people in my life who have noticed that and who have reached out to me to make sure I'm okay and to let me know that they're around and wanting to support me in the best way possible. But I'm not going to reach out and let them know I'm struggling. And I think that that's really the message that we want this song to carry. Is one of the things that I talk about when I wrote the lyrics is that I'm not going to ask you to stay. I don't want you to go, but I'm not going to ask you to stay. And that's really at the heart of someone who's genuinely struggling with depression or something along those lines. Is they're not going to want to impose themselves. So they're not going to speak up necessarily. And so I think it's just really important to pay attention. And so we're really excited about the video shoot that we got to do. We got to work with a really cool director. So we're really excited to launch this because it is so important to us and it means so much to our hearts. And I've had some conversations. One really struck out to me the most is after a show that we played. There was a girl who approached me to talk specifically about Scars. She spends most of her free time volunteering at a suicide hotline, and when she heard the lyrics of Scars, it just brought her to tears, because that's what she sees the person who's struggling with all of that. So we are asking for your help to when we launch the video on the 24th, for you to share it, for you to talk about it, for you to help us get some traction with some plays, and what we want to do is we want to share the message that you might feel alone, but you're not. And that for people who struggle, that there is hope, that there is light that can shine into the dark places. And for people who don't struggle, just pay attention to the people you love and pay attention to what they might be going through. I think it's really easy to get so focused on your own life that you don't always look around. And so I think that's really what we want to speak to, is just that we are all here together. We're all here on earth. We're one big family, one big community of just humanity, and we're all trying to navigate life at the same time. So just to be there for each other.
Yeah.
So thanks for listening. Bye.